Hello everyone, we are back with another top 8 game. This time we'll be having Ilya versus Jesper. And yeah, my name is Philip Schulz, I'm happy to be here and I'm joined by Connor Haywood. And before we go into the game, make sure to write hashtag and the name of the player you expect to win this top 8 match.
In lowercase?
Yes, in lowercase. So you can enter our giveaway for a €5 voucher for Card Market.
Yep. So before we actually get into the game, there was a game loss for Ilya. So Jesper will start 1-0 up. So that might skew where you're going to vote.
True, yeah.
But we never know. These matchups can be kind of 50-50.
Yeah, Ilya made it all the way to top 8, so I'm sure he can make this interesting even though he starts with a disadvantage. And yeah, I'm certainly hoping for an interesting match anyways.
Yep, so both players are getting more or less set up.
Yep.
Kind of having to introduce them all to the stream area because there's an awful lot going on over here. So we should see their prize cards soon. Waiting for the deck lists to be put in front of us so we can see what they are.
Yep. And in the meantime,
there they are.
Players have their headphones on, so we can talk a bit about the matchup. But actually, those players faced yesterday anyways.
Yeah, they both know it already.
Yeah, so we both know what they are facing.
Yeah, so we already had Jesper on stream yesterday,
exactly.
playing his Pikachu Zekrom.
Interestingly, Ilya is the only player in the top 8 who we haven't featured before.
We did well yesterday for choosing people who did well.
So yeah, he's the last one. And he will be playing the Rishizard deck with Volcanion and the Greens engine. So he doesn't play Jirachi or any other ability Pokemon, but in such focuses on searching out the right trainers at the right time with his Green Search.
Yeah, so why would you choose one engine over the other? With the Greens engine, you get to kind of take in some nice little one-offs.
Yeah.
But with this one, so with the Jirachi engine, you just kind of keep finding things every turn, is the big thing.
I mean, to some extent, it's a matter of playstyle preference. Like the Jirachi engine with Kia was, of course, very aggressive. The Greens engine is more like control-based, picking the right trainers at the right time, like I said. And I think the most important difference is the Zapdos matchup. We've seen the Jirachi version versus Zapdos last round. He put up a fight, but he ended up losing 2-0, and the Volcanion engine is at least supposedly better.
Yeah,
versus Zapdos.
Yeah, it just means that in those cases you can use the Zapdos.
Exactly, you have more
to KO the Zapdos. You have easier setup and things like that. But we're underway now.
And yeah, Ilya's going first and opening with a Tapu Koko, an interesting tech card in his deck. I'm actually not quite sure what it's for.
Well, it's a nice option to have just as a free retreater in and of itself. And then with the fact that you can still set it up with a welder very quickly, you can still get a few spreads in. And as we've heard, like these decks, especially Zapdos, isn't really too happy about getting hit with a bit of spread damage. But also for the mirror, it's very useful because you don't hit the 270 naturally.
Exactly. Yeah. So with Choice Band and Flare Strike, you can hit 260 and now I see it.
So it's a really instead of going for the Kiawe method of just being more aggressive in the mirror, instead you set yourself up by getting a flying flip or two in earlier, and then running away from there.
So Ilya's going with a variant that has a couple of non-X attackers, so he can deal in those non-GX matchups without having to rely on his Rishizard.
And we see one of them now.
Or on the Eevee Snorlax, exactly, where we see the Turtonator as well. So he has a whole number of different non-GX attackers, yes. And the Tapu Koko to kind of compensate for the mirror. And
that is quite a good first turn.
Yeah, it's
all the attackers down, a power plant in play,
it's decent so
judge.
Far. Yes.
If he finds an attachment now, I think this is more or less set up.
And an attachment is certainly what he wants here. And yeah, the judge might come back to hurt him. He doesn't play a lot of draw supporters, as these lists typically do. He only plays the Welder and Green Search as main engine and one judge. So he might have a hard time getting to a high amount of cards in his hand. And yeah, the crucial thing right now are certainly energies. He needs an energy.
One attachment to that Volcanion.
Yeah.
So you can retreat and start setting yourself up next turn is very nice. But it also means that he has that's his most efficient attacker on board. Jesper's going to have to find ways of taking KOs on multiple kind of awkward things to knock out with the Zapdos. Like the Turtonator has just enough HP, the Volcanion's just a little bit awkward, and then Ilya can then sit his Charizard in the active position going, well, this is going to take a few turns to knock out.
Yeah, also the choice band already on the Charizard, quite important, because the Charizard, of course, can then with the second attack one-shot a Pikachu Zekrom GX, which will be Jesper's attack of choice. Jesper plays 2 Zapdos, I believe, and other than that only focuses on Pikachu and Zeraora. Also the power plant is quite huge here because Jesper does not play Jirachi. He focuses on Dedenne, and okay, he has Marshadow, so but like I said, no Jirachi for him, so it might hurt him that he's not able to use the ability of Dedenne GX. And yeah, with those 4 cards, that's of course like facing a turn 1 let loose.
Yeah, he's now having, you know, these 4 cards makes the decisions very difficult. Whilst it looks like he has less options, he knows he's going to have to map it out already, because he has to really sequence it to get as much value out of every card he plays next turn to be able to get himself going.
And yeah, here we see also the Fury Flint for Ilya, so the most important part for him right now.
He has quite a few energies now.
And yeah, now he has plenty of them.
It's like, oh, I'm struggling to, you know, need to hit an energy, and finds a way.
Yes.
So Ilya's first turn, he's got to decide on where he wants to attach. He doesn't need to go into the Volcanion. He doesn't have to touch the Volcanion right now, because he can. It's a single attachment to set itself up later. So he's just going to go with the Charizard, which means that it's much easier for him to welder next turn, get himself set up, and start attacking.
Keeping all the options, and Jesper got bitten by that judge. Nothing for him, just a Zeraora and an attachment, and Ilya going right in with the Volcanion, starting to power up his Rishizard.
Yeah, keeping the pace kind of sharp, because first of all he didn't have that many cards left in hand, but also he knows that Jesper doesn't have many options. Kind of putting the it's just another pass from Jesper.
And not even an energy for Jesper. That's certainly painful. Volcanion taking the first knockout. And here we see finally an Ultra Ball, probably going to pick up a Marshadow.
And it gets rid of that Dedenne, and he's just going to have to hope for something off this let loose.
Yeah, this power plant really putting in work, making this Dedenne useless for Jesper. Also blocking his Zeraora's ability here.
And actually just looking through Ilya's list, he looks like he's teched for this matchup quite nicely with the greens list, because he has his double max potion in here. So he's able to kind of let them take a couple of turns to hit thing into the Reshiram Charizard, heal, and keep going.
This heal aspect, of course, is another strength of those green stacks. We've seen Bert Walters yesterday do phenomenally with his mixed herbs, being able to search those out in pairs to use them to their full potential, and being very annoying versus stuff like Zorak. And certainly this heal gives those Rishizard decks with Green's Engine another dimension in having more options.
It means that they can be flexible and tech for what is probably their worst matchup currently in the format, I think. Is that plus because that's just how good the Reshiram Charizard decks are. Is its worst matchup is still 50-50-ish. It's so aggressive, it's so explosive, it's able to kind of roll over them.
And here again, Jesper discarding a Dedenne after his let loose. This power plant hurting him a lot. Oh,
it's unfortunate he didn't also. He could have potentially found his field blower.
Yes.
Which would have the added benefit of also getting rid of the choice band off that Reshiram Charizard. Not that it matters too much number-wise in this kind of matchup.
And Electromagnetic Radar searching out 2 Pikachu Zekrom GX.
Yeah, I think Jesper basically said that his game plan in most games with this deck is play Pikachu until they can't deal with the Pikachu. But that Lily is going to be for 6 after that let loose, so it means that it was Jesper who recovered basically from the hand reduction from that early judge first, even if it wasn't you know, for the first 2 turns.
However, Ilya, of course, ready to go on his side, having a powered up attacker, having a Reshiram Charizard in the bag, and having additional energies in his hand as well, thanks to the Fury Flint.
Not after that Marshadow anymore.
Oh yeah, right,
it's gone.
Right. True. Now he has a new fresh 4 cards.
So it's a nest ball for Jesper, just going to continue trying to build the board, which he kind of lost a couple of turns in doing. But he's probably also making sure of his prize cards. The fact that the Tapu Koko Prism Star is in there is going to really hurt now, because that extra attachment really made a big difference.
Exactly, this Tapu Koko Prism Star is always the crucial card for those Pikachu Zekrom decks, especially in aggressive builds like Jesper's that focus more on the Pikachu. I'm checking if he has a Rayquaza in his deck. No, so
no, he does not.
The Tapu Koko Prism Star is his only option to accelerate additional energies. However, he can still have his Thunder Mountain. So when I used to play this archetype, I always said, yeah, well, the odds of prizing Tapu Koko are like 10%, and in those games you can also luck sack your Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, if you hit that early enough, you don't really mind about the Tapu Koko anymore. You get 1 full blitz in, and you're set up for game.
Yeah, getting this 1 first full blitz is basically everything you need. And yeah, but Jesper not being able to do much with Zeraora stuck in the active position because of the power plant, not being able to to retreat into something like the Marshadow, which would have been pretty nice for him, because this one price won't do Ilya any good. Jesper probably not putting down any more non-GX Pokemon.
No, at this point, he's just going to try and make it awkward to take the knockouts because there's too much HP on the board, not because, you know, the single prizes. Exactly. That's not an option his deck really flexes into too well with only 2 copies of Zapdos.
Yeah, I guess if Ilya would not be able to take a knockout this turn, using Zapdos would be quite nice for Jesper, because of course Ilya's at 5 prizes, and if there's a damaged Zera Aura, it's easy to go to 3 and then take a knockout on a Pika. So using a Zapdos to kind of make it more awkward would be nice.
Instead, we see Ilya take another Turtonator.
Yes.
Another
Volcanion. And he has a custom catcher, just draw 2 cards. Very versatile cards, actually.
We've seen this happen a few times, right? Of like these play to to get an extra effect are kind of fine on their own. A lot of the time, like they're not, like their first effect is never that bad.
Exactly, they can be surprisingly
we saw it with Puzzle, right? Like the fact that you could look at the top 3 cards and occasionally manipulate your draw, especially with Zoroark, was very important.
Oftentimes that was very important, and it came down to like tricky situations where we were like,
do I want to use it or not?
Do I want a puzzle for 3 cards, or do I want to trade and hope to draw another puzzle?
Well,
what is likely to get
for Ilya here, it's not really too much of a problem, simply because he knows one of them's in his prize cards. So if he goes to 2 left, that's still fine later on. So this is one of those things of making sure you check your prize cards can really change how you use other resources, like especially in the case where it's the use 2s.
And Ilya retreating into the Rishizard here, probably gonna use his GX attack, and so he's up 3 prizes now, and Jesper still no attacker, still no Pika ready to go. Tapu Koko Prism Star in his prizes.
Yeah.
He certainly needs to answer this quickly.
So, Choice Band.
And
needs Thunder Mountain to have any option this turn.
Energy and 2 additional modifiers. So a huge amount of cards that are important for him. He has an Ultra Ball, so he can still go for Marshadow to dig through more cards. He has an energy here, so he can attach an energy, so he has one of the pieces already. But finding this crucial Thunder Mountain,
really having to go through the whole deck.
Just making sure to waste additional cards that he doesn't need.
Well, he did have 1 Electro Power, so he now only needs 1 extra modifier and the Thunder Mountain off this 4 cards. So it's not likely.
Also, finding a Field Blower would be great for him. He plays 2D Energy X, so he still has one in his deck even after discarding the 1.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to keep digging through his deck this turn to maybe find it. And if he does, actually, then he's in a very strong position.
Yes, and the Field Blower would also be nice to remove this Choice Band, because, of course, at this point, the Rishizard only needs an additional energy to take a knockout on a Pika deck.
Well, if he hits that anyway, he's much happier. But so, if Jesper is able to find, I don't think he did.
I don't think so either. It looks like he has nothing and he has no options. Just conceding the game. Ilya showing him that yes, I had the energy. Jesper not even caring about this.
Well, that's always one of the sportsmanship questions that you have then between games of, kind of showing your opponent you had it, of, kind of manipulate the mental state, right? Of kind of going, oh, yeah, you may have put me to 4 cards, but I still hit what I needed, even if they scoop. Like, it's kind of like the scoop was kind of irrelevant. So that's always kind of I don't like doing it myself. I just kind of go, okay, if you've scooped, I'm just going to pick my cards up. I don't want to show you, especially when you still have another game to play.
Yeah.
In day 1 Swiss, revealing extra information to your opponent for free is not always a good idea.
But the extra information in this case is, yes, I run more than 6 fire energy.
Yeah, exactly. He had quite a few outs to it as well, with like crystals and all the likes of it. So
I guess in this situation, Jesper was so far behind in pace anyways that he was certain that Ilya's gonna have it, and even if he didn't have it, he could charge up another attacker and be ready for it later. And it was just this crucial hit or miss turn for Jesper, and he missed it and lost.
And it's not really that surprising he missed. He did require about 4-5 cards to be able to pull off the whole combo.
This game, of course, being slightly unlucky for Jesper, because, of course, he got a terrible hand after Ilya's stretch. He suffered a lot because of his power plant. However, on the bright side, his Tapu Koko Prism Star was priced anyways, and so I like
ultimately didn't matter.
Exactly. I like to think of it as when you get your bad variants, better get it in the games when Tapu Koko Prism Star is priced anyway.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you know that in top 8 you only have so much luck to carry you through, and it's like, well, let's just get it out the way. Now this game effectively goes down to sudden death, and we have plenty of time, so we will see probably quite a swift conclusion. Neither of these decks are decks that are looking to go probably more than like 10 turns.
47 minutes left, and 2 aggressive tag team decks.
I think we'll see a conclusion to this.
I think so. Yeah.
And even if we don't, it would be interesting to see how we didn't. To be honest, like if we somehow wind up getting to the time of having to go to sudden death, it'd be like, how?
That would be something very curious.
It's like they prize all of their attackers or something.
Yeah. So Ilya managed to even up the game count. Jesper going first now, so he will have the opportunity to use Lily on his first turn if he manages to draw into one. We see nothing important in his prizes. 2 Guzma, which might hurt him because he's only playing 3, I believe. No, he's actually playing 4 Guzma, so he has plenty of votes. And he didn't seem to value them very much. Yeah,
and starting the Marshadow is a bit unfortunate because I'm sure Jesper would like to get revenge, basically, from last time and go, no, you start with 4 cards. But he does play a second copy, so he can still potentially find other ways into it. That electromagnetic radar, getting him the Dedenne and one of his Reshiram Charizard straight away. One of the most important cards I think that these decks gained in this new expansion was just cool. So it's an Ultra Ball, but it's more Ultra Ball.
Exactly. Being able to search for 2 GX Pokemon is just a very strong attack, and especially in combination with this, with the Dedenne GX being able to search for an attacker and then get this additional draw as well.
That's a bit better of a setup.
Yeah, that's pretty good for Jesper here, and of course Jesper still has the second Marshadow, so if he really wants to go for it and disrupt Ilya,
he does get the Ultra Ball, so he still has that option as well. With his Tapu Koko not prized this time and already 2 Lightning in the discard is one option. He could also opt to use the Zero GX attack. We saw that yesterday of kind of recovering a load of energy against Mill.
Yes.
So.
Oh, interestingly, Jesper opting to use Lily before using. No, maybe I'm mistaken, and it's an energy switch, not an Ultra Ball. I believe
it might well be.
Ultra Ball in his hand.
It's one of those problems with those cards which have so many different arts.
He certainly has an Ultra Ball now, so he can think about going for Marshadow if he really wants to. I don't see a supporter currently in his hand, so it might be worth consideration. However, no, Jesper just passes.
Nope. He's kind of gone, well, this is already enough of a setup that it's probably putting pressure.
Yeah, it's not too great right now. He basically didn't get, he literally didn't get anything after this Lily. Didn't play a single card afterward, but having this first energy on the Pikachu Zekrom is at least something. And if he manages to draw into Tapu Koko Prism Star while discarding a Lightning Energy and getting an Energy Switch and another Energy, which sounds like a lot when you say it like this, but it's actually not too much.
No, so when I first played a few games with this deck back when it first came out, I was like, why is anyone even considering any other deck? I think I hit those kind of stupid combos of Thunder Mountain, Energy Switch, Coco, like turn 1 every game, and I was like, this is brilliant. And then I realized, oh no, wait, I just got really lucky because then I had about 8 games in a row where that did not happen. But we see Reshiram Charizard hit the bench for Ilya.
Yeah, so this is really good for him. He also has the Volcanion in his active. That's very strong as well. Starting with Volcanion or Tapu Koko is pretty important for him when he goes second, because this way he can use Flare Starter of Volcanion for a whole of 3 cards, which is of 3 fire energy, search them out of your deck, attach them to one of your Pokemon, which is of course amazing to power up this Rishizard. And yeah, he has the green search, so he will definitely have an energy because he can search for Fury Flint. If he doesn't already have it.
Yep. Oh, so it's the fact that fire Pokemon have historically had high attack costs, which do a lot of damage when they're set up. And before, so like the last time fire was particularly good was with the Volcanion period, where Volcanion was dominating, but that had to rely on things like Max Elixir to kind of get set up. Now, and that was kind of like always like a kind of a lottery, right? Of you kind of go, it was always the card after. It was always the card after. Was your energy. Now they have kind of ways to kind of ensure that they get their attack cost found, and also recycle the resources they have to like use to get there with the recovery with the fire crystals.
Yeah, and here we see Ilya going for the Fury Flint to secure his fire energies, and also going for this power plant realizing how much work it put in the first game. Interestingly, discarding 2 fire energy, so Fear being an interesting card here. Of course, enabling him to use Fire Crystal later on if he wants to. And
yeah, the 2 cards have fantastic synergy. Well, so if these two did, you said these two played yesterday, so like Ilya was probably very sure that Jesper doesn't really have any way around this power plant. But we did see that Jesper actually held the field blower.
Exactly. Jesper had his field blower in his hand ready to remove his power plant and get going the next turn right away. Yeah,
there's a certain amount of kind of... Sometimes when you draw cards, you don't want to use them until... Like, obviously with the field blower, there was nothing to field blower. But sometimes you can kind of bluff at a slightly dead hand by kind of drawing, looking at it, going, oh, and then just passing. Which then means that your opponent might make a very aggressive, effectively greedy kind of turn where they're trying to go, oh, we'll try and punish this dead hand. And just to get punished when you go, surprise, I had everything I need. I just wanted to make you look sad.
And here, Jesper showing the Thunder Mountain.
He just needs an energy.
He was missing last game.
I see double Electro Power in here as well.
So
he doesn't have an energy that I can see.
Yeah.
Maybe he
but he has a Tapu Lele, so he can go for Faulkner if he wants to.
No, I think he might go. So I think he might go for the Guzma because he has double. Because he has another Ultra Ball in hand as well. So he can go for the Coco, the Guzma, and pull out the Reshizard, and with the double Electro Power in hand, he's he could opt to go for the GX attack.
Jesper going in for an explosive start, it looks like.
Well, I think he knows that if he gets an early aggressive lead, takes basically all of the energy off of Ilya's board, except for the one left on the Volcanion, which is not going to do anything in response.
Yeah, this is not really punishable because Ilya does not have a way of charging up a Rishi around Charizard in a single turn. So, here we see the Guzma, and with
he has the energy switch as well.
Exactly.
So this is a huge turn.
Yeah. He has the energy switch, he has the double Electro Power, and Ilya not getting rid of those 3 energies from Ilya Charizard and going up 3 prizes right away by turn 2.
Yeah, that is really putting Ilya on a clock. Right, you have basically 2 turns now to try and sort this out. No added benefit of the GX attack to be able to take out another Pokemon. That would, I think, if that had been even possible, that would have been incredible. But instead, we see 3 prize card lead.
Yes.
And Ilya really having to work hard to come back into this, especially because he really needs to be using his greens to get set up. But that means he can't also use welders to attack with anything.
Yeah. However, Ilya already having the welder right away, attaching 3 energies to a Surisham Charizard. This time it's rather safe because without the GX attack, it is impossible for Jesper to knock it out in 1 turn, because he already used 2 of his Electro Power, so he can reach a maximum of 240, being 30 shot.
Yep, but here he's not really too bothered about that, because another attachment means just KO this Volcanion, remain in the lead. He may not wish to do that with the Pikachu Zekrom, simply because he doesn't want it to get Respond knockout by the Reshizard.
Yeah, I was about to say that Jesper's probably looking for another Pikachu here. He really wants to use Full Blitz to charge it up. And yeah, here we see the Nest Ball, so that's very good for him. Oh, he actually has a Guzma in his hand, I believe.
Yeah,
so he might go for Zeraora, right?
Yeah.
And then he can retreat Guzma up the Reshizard, use the Dana to recharge his hand, and then he can power up his Zeraora.
To basically guarantee it, because at this point it then means, go ahead, you can kind of get away with it effectively. If it's like, right, cool, just going to pull you out, hit you, and even if you do respond, Zeraora is just going to finish this game.
Exactly. So Jesper putting himself into a commanding lead. However, Ilya having those max potions in his deck, opting for the more versatile approach, so he might be able to use Green Surge to get a max potion, attach an retreat, attach an energy, and use another Flare starter.
Yeah, it's going to be a very short games that we could wind up with. But yeah, this way is just a very threatening board from Jesper. 2 attackers ready to go, the Thunder Mountain not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and a lot of damage counters in play on Ilya's side.
So all Jesper needs is a Guzma to take out this Reshizard. However, Ilya definitely looking to heal this off, because this possibility for Jesper to end this game anytime
2
he
attacks
gets a
is
boost
now, this is like, right, first card I need, if I'm going to play a greens, one of them is definitely a max pot, because if I don't take a max potion now, there's no, I can't do anything. So it'll be probably retreating to the bench, max potion. You have to gear first though.
And another interesting thing, another good thing for Jesper is that there is only one Pikachu Zekrom on his side of the board, so there's no real way for Ilya to end the game in like 2 turns. He will need a couple of time. So even if he heals his Reshiram Charizard and then goes back into attacking with it, Jesper can use his Tapu Lele and the Zero Hour to 2-shot it afterwards. So very
the
strong
attachment to
position
the
for him.
Tapu Lele earlier on, making it much easier to set up. Like this is what happens with these kind of this level of play, right? Is you have a turn where it looks like you're just throwing an energy down, and you saw that he went 1 Dedenne, 1 Lele. Now some people would just promote the Lele, retreat the Lele, but he's like, no, this is an option. At some point, Reshizard needs an awful lot of energies on it, so maybe I should save this to finish it off later on. And we see.
And yeah, Ilya going for the green side.
Yeah, he has no choice, I don't think.
Yeah, he pretty much has to pick up a max potion here.
Yeah, if he doesn't find it, then he's really in trouble because, well, it's over. And so it'll be a retreat, heal, and just start setting up all over again is basically his plan.
And he seems to go for a max potion, and I think the second card's a Fire Crystal.
Yeah, he already has a Welder in hand for next turn, which means
that
he can get the Reshizard set back up in a single turn. So having that option. Green's Exploration, obviously a very important card from this format. Has found its way into a fair few decks, or at least it did originally, found its way back out of a lot of them. The ability to take any 2 cards you want as long as you have nothing with an ability in play is pretty good. But we are also in a format where there's a lot of very good abilities in play. So.
And now Ilya debating on what to promote after his retreat. Opting for the Tapu Koko. So having the Welder and enough energy in his hand, he doesn't need the Flare Starter to power up the Reshizard, and also valuing this Volcanion as an option to take a prize with a non-Jigs attacker on something like the Marshadow, knowing that he will have to attack 3 times to win this game. And he of course can't afford to leave his Reshizard too much exposed.
Yeah, so he's just going to bounce the turn over to Jesper, who really probably doesn't have to do too much this turn. He just takes the prize that is available to him. The Volcaneer is very nice to kind of make sure, but these won't be cards he will play this turn, I suspect. This is going to be just, right, just get myself ready, probably full blitz again, maybe I set up one of the Tapu Leles with a few energy on it, as kind of a fairly aggressive attacker in the end, when if you stack a load of energy on a Tapu Lele, can kind of add up.
And a smart thing from Ilya, of course, is that he has 2 non-Jigs on his board right now, and he's forcing Jesper to take knockouts on them, and of course they are, well, basically useless prizes for Jesper.
Yeah, he's going to wind up, most likely taking 8 prize cards in this game, as opposed to the usual 6. So Faulkner is an energy.
Yeah, so effectively, Ilya changes this 3 prize lead from Jesper into a 1 prize lead, because Jesper's playing with 8 prizes total and Ilya with 6.
Yeah, assuming that Ilya is able to get into a point where he's taking knockouts with it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter quite so much. Tapu Koko.
And Jesper debating if he wants to retreat his Pikazek.
Yeah, trying to work out if he wants the Zero Aura to attack.
Exactly. Like, the thought process probably that on the one hand, Pikazek has more HP than Zero Aura, and the Reshizard doesn't have a choice band yet. So it might be possible that Ilya whiffs the knockout here. On the other hand, he would like to retreat into Zero Aura to use like 2 non-GX attackers and then maybe attack with the Zapdos. So that Ilya needs more Guzmas to win the game.
Yeah, I think that's what he's gone for. Is he's decided that the benefit of making Ilya need extra cards, especially because of the Greens engine, he can't just pick them out when the turn he needs them, like you can sometimes with Jirachis. On the turns you need them, you have probably played Greens, so without access to, they don't play Lieutenant Surge's strategy. You can only play 1 a turn. which means they can't find multiple resources as easily. So.
And here we see Ilya debating on what to promote. He has a Guzma in his hand, so he might want to use it. However, Volcanion needs 4 energy in play for it to deal extra damage.
Yep, and so there's no way of doing that without using a different supporter.
Exactly, so he probably wants to promote his Rishizard here. Might be opting to promote the Volcanion and just deal some chip damage here instead. However, this would set him back quite a bit, because he doesn't really want to he won't be two-shotting with Zera Aura, because if he uses the Reshiram, Jesper would just take a knockout, and then he would have to finish it off with Rishizard anyway. So
yeah, at this point he just has to do something to kind of stay in the prize race.
And yeah, Ilya realizing that, going for the Welder, charging up his Rishizard.
Nice. See,
and
nothing in particular in there.
Another energy just yet.
I think that's another Welder I saw as one of those cards.
That might be a huge whiff for Ilya if he doesn't manage to draw into it.
Yeah, he may have to just go for the GX attack instead.
Oh yeah, right. The GX attack is always an option as well. So it's not too important.
In fact, the GX attack here is probably fine, because you know that you're probably going to be attacking 2 turns in a row with this Reshiram Charizard.
Yeah, so
burning it now is not a problem.
Jesper seeing this might start regretting retreating this Pikachu Zekrom.
Discarding the Welder from the Acrobike. There's also a Shrine of Punishment, which means that maybe
and
he plays this.
Ilya using a Pokegear, which is an interesting choice. Jesper might be opting to go for a Marshadow next turn, just to make the combination of Fire Energy and Choice Band as unlikely as possible.
Yeah, the fact that he frees up a bench space here.
Yes.
Ilya needs to kind of bear that in mind, because that Marshadow comes in, makes the combination that you then need of energy band to take the KO.
Yeah.
Somewhat unlikely.
Yeah, it's just the greens away, but Ilya has used multiple green search already, and as you said earlier, he doesn't play a whole lot of draw supporters, and I think he played at least 2 greens. It might have been 3 already. I believe it's 2 though.
But this game already going longer than the first game in the series.
Yeah. And yeah, Ilya preparing for the next turn, seeing maybe which cards he can waste, and he's opting to put down another non-GX, realizing that, well, this Rishizard will be two-shotted anyways, so it doesn't matter too much to put down another non-GX.
Yeah, the Shrine's going to be really huge here, because it means that if Jesper can't kick it for a couple of turns, the Pikachu Zekrom no longer requires any damage modifiers. Yes. But it also means that the things that the Tapu Lele and the Dedenne, which don't have that much HP, can potentially be put into Turtonator range much easier. But instead, he just field blows it away. So he plays it, then field blows his own stadium. Probably trying to play around the Marshadow somewhat, having now committed the Pokegear already.
Yeah, also the combination of Choice Band and Fire Energy doesn't matter too much here, because Jesper, of course, wants Ilya to attack with the Rishizard because he can take a knockout on it. He will still need a damage modifier to do so, and he will need an energy, because right now... oh no, actually it's fine. If he manages to get an energy for his Pikachu Zekrom, he will deal 150 and then can finish it off with Tapu Lele. However...
Another Pikachu Zekrom coming into play.
Yes.
And a Tapu Koko.
Jesper's second Zera Aura being prized. If he's not going for Marshadow, Zera Aura might be something he would be interested to see.
Assuming he has an Ultra Ball, not just the electromagnetic radar anyway.
But yeah, a Marshadow this turn would be a decent thing for Jesper. That would be pretty nice to see, because Ilya probably wants to use Guzma and an energy on the Volcanion to take a knockout on Marshadow, to go down to 3 prizes and then prepare to take a knockout on Pikazek for
so a lot of energy in play. 150 damage now on the Reshiram Charizard. With the fact that he's used with the fact that Ilya has used multiple welders and recovery resources for his fire energies already, this damage is probably sticking. This is not something that you really want to have to max potion away, which means that Jesper's basically just a Guzma away at this point, at most. because there are attackers ready to go. There's also a Tapu Koko in hand, so that even if certain knockouts happen, he can find another way of taking an attacker fairly easily.
And yeah, the good thing for Jesper is that Ilya needs to take one more prize. He needs to take a knockout on this Marshmallow basically to get into the finish line of the game. However, he cannot heal his Reshiram Charizard at the same time because the Volcanion needs at least 4 energy to play to deal more than 50 damage.
Yeah, the very slight difference to prize trades that they've had going back and forth. That play by Jesper, even though it looked like it was punished by promoting the Zeraora earlier on, has made a massive difference at this stage.
Yes, and if Ilya were to opt to heal his Rishizat and try to charge it up once again, then
it's just too many turns.
Exactly, it wouldn't do anything because Jesper would just take a knockout on the non-GX, on the Volcanion, and then he would be...
Yeah, you can see Ilya really does look like he's... He knows that Jesper's kind of put him in almost a checkmate with...
Yes. So basically everything that Ilya can hope for here is using the Guzma and praying that Jesper doesn't have it. And
there we
Jesper has
go.
the Guzma,
so Jesper does win it.
And Jesper Eriksen wins the series 2-1.
Yep. In that end, the last few turns of that game got really interesting. There were a couple of decisions in there, especially with the Zeraora, which ultimately paid off, even if it didn't look like it did originally. So we'll have a chat with Jesper in a minute, I think. Just to kind of have a quick winners interview because we have a bit of time in top 8. So we'll have a chat with Jesper shortly, get his thoughts and feelings, especially after his day 1 as well. We can ask him how he went. That he thinks that went. And also, I was talking to him in the hotel lobby this morning about the matchup, and he was like, "Well, I'm not." Like well, no, he wasn't. It was Jesper, and he was very confident.
Yeah.
But then, discussing with you lot last night, we all went back to the hotel and had a chat, and we're like, "Well, who do we think is favoured in this matchup?" We were like, "It's like seriously close."
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what he saw as the keys and why he was so confident.
Certainly. And yeah, we'll go to a short break and then we will be back with Jesper.
Be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody, for a winner's interview with the one and only Jesper Eriksen. How you doing, man?
I feel great after I finally... perhaps I broke my stream curse finally after losing so many stream games in this season, but I feel privileged that I got so far, and playing Pikachu feels really awesome.
Well, you were just saying literally just before we came on here, I was like, I felt like a high rolled a bit there and like that.
But the deck is high roll-ish. The deck is made to high roll, but when you play cards like you saw my opening hand, I was sitting the energies, starting Marshmallow, energies, the choice bands, I think energies switch or something.
Yeah.
And top deck Radar's like, yeah, it's like
as soon as you play, it's like this is awkward. This is awkward. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, Radar, I draw 6 cards. And then of the 6 cards I got, 5 of them were unplayable because they were too good.
Yeah.
They were too good.
Well, so this is the thing. It's like we said you passed, and they're like, yeah, but that was really good because what Ilya then did was kind of go quite aggressive, and you're like, yeah, I've got the punish for this. Like, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, but I think anyway he would not play just turn 1. Like he does that when he goes first, of course, because he has more time to do it. But when he goes second, he wants to catch up to my setup. And when I have the cards I have, I even think without Tack Bolt, turn 2 I could have won the game, like Coco later, but. Let's just get it done over with too, right? But the way that it happened there, as long as you just got a Guzma and then maybe with Zapdos at least, that would have made the matchup more lopsided in my favor. So I could just KO that and then Coco the other one, but let's just take it now.
Because there was one of the most important turns in that game 3 was you had to decide between attacking with the Pikachu Zekrom or the Zeraora.
Yeah.
Which ultimately it looked like it got punished, but it tilted the prize trade just enough.
Yeah, to avoid it's impossible for him to win. So the thing is, I had a long thought about that. I think you saw that in the stream as well. Because I was like, okay, if I would treat this Aura, I push him to have Choice Band Guzma, but then he can't do other stuff with the Pika afterwards, so I just kind of win because I don't have 2 Pikas down. The thing I did, I checkmated the last turn with full Blades into another Pika. I really like that as well. Because I did 150, I was like, if I get Coco out, I can maybe get punished by something super dumb like a potion or something. I don't want to have that happen. I don't care if he gets 2 knockouts anyway. I just lose. So
sure.
Full steam ahead. Get 2 Pikas out.
Yeah, exactly. We do have to talk about that game 2, though.
Oh, shite.
So
yeah, power plant is really annoying when you don't get your Thunder Mountain or Field Blowers out.
Yeah. Well, so because it looks like your build is slightly more susceptible to power plant than like a Jirachi engine. You're going for the electromagnetic radars and the Denes, right?
Yes. So like I got the list of I think it was Madison regionals where top 4 was Sander Perro and Rahul and the other guys. Were playing it, and I asked Rahul. He was like, "What did change? Just cut reset whole Marshall. It's cute, but it doesn't get a lot done." I felt the same way during the tournament. I still have outs to power play. And I have the 2 blowers and I have the Thunder Mountain, so it's not. It shouldn't be as big of an issue as it was in game 2, but.
You just didn't hit anything.
I didn't hit the necessary draw supporters. I didn't hit field blower to get off because I had multiple spots where I could field blower and then did for 6 cards and be like, yes, I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I felt like if I had that bad of a game 2, the game 3 would swing. And
well, we did say is like, you know, in top 8 players are kind of like, look, sometimes I'll take that bad beat for 1 game.
Yeah.
Because it means I kind of get it out. Mentally, it feels like it's out the way.
Yes,
I'm fine for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then we saw in game 3 where your opening turn was just like, right, cool. Energies come down. Lily, double electro power. Show his plan is like, all right, we're ready. We got this. It came right back on for you.
Yeah, and it was so good. It was so good, and I feel I'm gonna play probably the same matchup in top 4. Because of Bird's playing against Stefan.
Oh, so you think Bird's favored in that one, right?
Bird, like green, like Sturzar is still favored against Pika, no matter what you do. But if I start like I do now, it's good.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I know Bird personally, and he's really good. He's really good. I really respect him, and he's been playing with my brother, except this match, like especially this matchup a lot. So I know.
So you know all the ins and outs.
He has the tricks. But like honestly, I felt that the game loss, of course, really tilted it. And yesterday. I played versus Ilya and Swiss. And I won game 1 of Let Loose. He won game 1 of Judge. I won game 2 of Let Loose, and I won game 3 of Let Loose. So playing Pika Sec.
Yeah,
it's not called Pika Rom, guys. Not Pika Rom. But playing Pika Sec or the version I'm playing Pika Cheese, where you play 2 more shadows, it's so important for you to get your opponent to have a suboptimal draw at some point in the game, so you can take over and just full blitz tack bolt.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like all you want is 1 turn where they can't deal with a Pika Rom, and it's fine.
Pika Sack.
Yeah, and then at that point, they can't deal with a Pika Rom. Then you can Pika Sack them.
No. Pika Sack no matter. You don't never say Rom. It's never Rom. It's always Sec.
Okay, so in that case, when we list this on the Limitless page, we'll have to change the name for you.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that.
Like already when we tested for OCIC, Rob and I were calling it Pika Sack. It's Pika Sec.
Yeah, sure.
Pika Rom.
So I think we're more or less ready now to go for a quick break, so we can go get some food, have a little wander around the expo for a little bit, go see some games.
Yes.
So we'll take a short break, and we'll be back for the next game in about 25 minutes or so. Thank you.
See you guys.